I got some more movies to discuss with you guys, so I'm ready for this. Are you? Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you very much for taking in the time of your day to watching one of my videos for playback to back. And we're going to be reviewing some five more movies with you guys. For example, like Transcendence, Central Intelligence, Cinderella, Me Before You, and The Walk. Very great, interesting movies, and I'm very, very excited having to share my opinions of these films with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started with the first movie I'll be reviewing with you guys today. So let's get started with Central Intelligence. Central Intelligence is directed by Rawson Marshall, and we have it starring Dwayne Johnson, of course, with Kevin Hart, and we got Amy Ryan, Danielle Nicoleff, Jason Bateman, and Aaron Paul. And this is such a very interesting movie. You know, I love the combinations of Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart. They both really do work well together. And I'm very fond with their performances in several other films. But them together working in the same movie, it really did work out very well. They got some really great comedic performances in this movie. Their chemistry really does work very well together. And I really did love even though it's very noticeable, which is the CGI fat younger version of Dwayne Johnson's self. You know, you got this the actor who's playing the body, and then they just CGI his face onto the body, and it looks very real, but also it looks very fake. But yet it's still so funny. It's such a very funny part of the film, but yet you still feel very connected to him and to understand his emotions, his feelings when he's getting picked on by all these bullies. And then you can understand Kevin Hart's character being the heroic character into the mix, helping Dwayne Johnson's character out from being this huge embarrassment in front of a prep rally in front of all the entire school. And I really did love these two working together. It was such a great experience, and we even got to see them working together again in the new Jumanji movie. So it's really getting to show that these two can really do some great work working together. And I wish they're like pretty much the new today's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito working together type of flick. So on Rotten Tomatoes, they rated Central Intelligence a 70%. And for me, since this is a comedic movie and most comedic films are not as popular, they don't really reach up to the roof as highly anticipated. But since Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 70%, and just to point out, my ratings before I check out Rotten Tomatoes percentages, I do mine first, so that way I don't have any comparisons. So mine went a little bit low to a 63%. You know, it's still a great movie to watch, but it's not very highly a really great film. It's just sending out a message saying that, you know, even though you were this type of character back in the day, you had the inspiration to becoming something more throughout the years and standing up for yourself and believing in who you are and what you can do. And so that's what, not just with Dwayne Johnson's character, but with Kevin Hart's as well. So that's my rating for Central Intelligence, and now on to the next film, guys. So next up is Cinderella, and Cinderella is directed by Kenneth Branagh, and it stars Lily James, Cate Blanchett, Richard Madden, Helena Bonham Carter, and Stellan Skarsgård. And I really did love Lily James' performance as Cinderella. I mean, she did a brilliant, terrific job. I love the way that her character is portrayed within this movie, rephrasing to a line that's very familiar within the movie, which is, you know, continue to be courageous and continue to be kind. So that's pretty much defines what Cinderella's character is actually all about. And it's being taken advantage of by Cate Blanchett's character, which is the stepmother, and Cinderella's two half-sisters, stepsisters, sorry. And and then she stumbles across the prince, which is played by Richard Madden, and the prince holds this glorious ball, and Helena Bonham Carter is her fairy godmother, which helps her out into going into this ball. And and it's very much compared to the original film, the animated Disney film, but they made some very several changes into making this its own film. So I'm very fond of the fact that this movie is very much staying to the true aspect of the traditional storyline, but and yet they threw in some additional parts to make the story more making it more sense. So Rotten Tomatoes rated it an 84%, and for me, loving the film as much as I loved it to be, I actually gave it a very good percentage as well at an 80%. So Cinderella did a very amazing job, and following along with many other Disney animation remakes into becoming a live action film. So Cinderella is a great film. I very much anticipate and encourage all of you to go and watch this movie if you guys have not. So if you guys have, you can always leave a comment in the section down below, and we can have an awesome conversation regarding towards this film or any film in particular. So that's my ratings for Cinderella. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next film, guys. Transcendence. Transcendence actually seems to be like a movie that is directed by Christopher Nolan, but as a matter of fact, it's not. It's actually directed by Wally Pfister, and I'm not familiar with his work, but I really did admire this movie a lot, most than the majority of people that did not. It stars Johnny Depp. We got Rebecca Hall, Paul Bettany, Cillian Murphy, Kate Mara, and Morgan Freeman. And this is a very interesting movie for me because it's pretty much describing the evolution of technology when Johnny Depp's character gets killed by Kate Mara and her crew, and he is, in a sense, well, in other words, transcended into from flesh to it transcends its consciousness into a computer, and he becomes self-aware, just like an AI, central intelligence. And this movie was very interesting for me. It was a movie that really made a lot of sense. Most movies like this would not, but this one I really did follow through with it. And sometimes it kind of creeped me out the way Johnny Depp's character portrayed itself as being this AI evolutionized person. So this movie was very interesting for me, and I really did love it a lot, but on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it a 20%, and that's a very low rating, in which I can highly understand and respect other people's decisions, but me, on the other hand, Awesome Joe rates it a 58%. You know, it's not a bad movie, it's not a great movie, but it's a movie that does make sense, and it did keep me fully entertained throughout from beginning to end, and so I respect everyone's decisions and opinions based off of a movie such as this, so I expect you guys do the same for mine, because I really did enjoy Transcendence, and I really do look forward to seeing more type of movies such as this on the big screen. So we're going to be talking about Me Before You. This is a movie most women are fond upon, and so I gave it a shot and went ahead and checked this movie out. And it's directed by Thea Sharrock, and it's starring Emilia Clarke, Sam Claflin, Janet McTeer, Charles Dance, and Matthew Lewis. And this movie is it kind of gave me a split reminder of, like The Notebook with 50 Shades of Grey without the porn part. So, and it's just all about Emilia Clarke's character. She's trying to look for a job, and she stumbles upon this one, which is taking care of a certain gentleman who's paralyzed from the neck down, who got into an accident a few months ago. So, and she comes to learn of the terms that this character is deciding to have himself killed off because he doesn't no longer want to be feeling like a burden to anyone. So, so these two, they spend time together, and of course, down the road, this ends up to becoming a falling in love romantic movie. And it really makes things a lot complicated because of his condition. So, it's a very interesting movie. You know, Emilia Clarke continues to do whatever she can to because since she's falling in love with him, to help him change his mind from having to from after making this decision. So, Rotten Tomatoes rated it a 57%, and I am going to go ahead and completely agree with that rating, giving it a 57% as well. It's not a great movie. It's not it's not the best movie, but for most men, I really don't think men would really fully understand and follow a certain movie such as this. But if you had a women's mind potential to see things from their side, you pretty much would enjoy this movie if you wanted to. So that's my rating for Me Before You. I hope that my opinions really made any sense to anybody, because I'm trying to do the best I can here to give my side, my opinion based off of a movie such as this. So let's go ahead and jump on to the final movie, the one that I saved the best for last, because it is the best that I've seen throughout these 5 movies that I've watched recently for you. So last on the list is The Walk. And The Walk is actually directed by Robert Zemeckis. If you're not familiar with his work, he's done so many great movies like the Back to the Future trilogy. Then he has done movies like Castaway and Forrest Gump. And he's a brilliant director. And having to watch this movie, I didn't even have the anticipation of knowing that this was a Robert Zemeckis film. So when I watched this movie, I fell in love before I knew that who the director was. So when I saw it was Robert Zemeckis, I was like, brilliant. Just a great job. And it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We've got Ben Kingsley, Charlotte LeBon, James Bridge, and Ben Schwartz. And this is actually based on a true story back in 1974. His name is Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a character named Philippe. And he has a dream of becoming a line walker. A wire walker, I think that's what you call it. And, walking on a wire from one end to the other, point A to point B. And so his big dream is to successfully walk on the most highest building in the entire world, which is, of course, the Twin Towers in New York City. And they were just finished building these buildings back in 1974, 1973. And I love movies in that era. It's a great era, and it's a perfect time to experience the lifestyle back in the day, and having to get to see these Twin Towers once again on the big screen was such a huge, great experience to watch. And when Joseph Gordon-Levitt fulfills his dream, having to walk across these 2 buildings, not just once but several times, it's just amazing, and having to know that this actually happened. It's such a great movie. It's such a great movie. I really do encourage for everybody who has not watched The Walk or didn't even know anything about the movie of The Walk, because I didn't. And me being a movie critic, I took in the chance and the opportunity to watch a movie such as this and enjoyed it. So I am calling out to everyone who has not watched The Walk to watch The Walk, because it's such an amazing film. I really did love it very much. And on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it a 94%. And for me, I gave it a little higher to an 89%. Such an awesome movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I can't wait to watch it again. Such an awesome movie, guys. So those are my ratings for these 5 movies that I recently watched and wanted to review you guys with my personal opinion, being a movie critic myself. So I'm Awesome Joe. Thank you guys for taking in the time and the opportunity to watching my videos. You guys are a huge inspiration for me to continue to do my personal hobby of mine, because I love to talk about movies, but more importantly, I love to talk about them with you. So I'm Awesome Joe, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.